Sleeponomics podcast. We're here with GhostBed founder Marc Werner. Marc, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm an older guy sitting laying in one of our GhostBed Luxe mattresses with Catherine in our marketing group, and Catherine does a great job handling all these interesting projects. We're launching our podcast today. I started GhostBed with my wife 23 years ago. And by the way, I'm going to kind of look straight forward because I've had 3 neck surgeries and I've got all this metal and these rods and 40 titanium screws in here. So I can't really look right or left very easily without a lot of pain. So I'll look forward to the camera. Catherine, she has all the mobility in her neck, so she can go any which way she wants. So I don't want to be rude to Catherine, but due to limitations, I've got to do this. And we'll have to pretty much do this in all of our podcasts. I hope we have lots of good topics to talk about. So anyway, started this mattress company, having been in multiple industries over my lifetime, been in business for over 45 years, been a serial entrepreneur, inventor, proud of that. I love inventing stuff. I invented the digital bathroom scale 40 odd years ago, so everyone can hate me for that.
That's pretty cool.
that was a really fun project, and I was 23 at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a great project, and everyone uses it today. And not only did I invent the digital bathroom scale, but then I changed the weighing mechanism, so it's what's called a strain gauge. So you're measuring the electrical differential when someone steps on it and measures the weight, and it's very, very precise. And the microprocessor, which was kind of just coming into its own back in the early 80s really, and affordable, allowed it to be economically feasible to put it into a bathroom scale and use that kind of a weighing mechanism. And that's why we have super thin bathroom scales and all kinds of features, but that was all work I did. And we didn't have internet and cell phones back then. Not even sure we had voicemail then. I think it was just taking notes when someone called.
Wow.
And I did a lot of exploratory work on that in Europe. So I went over to Brussels, found a couple software engineers that could help code the original electrical analysis and help lay out the printed circuit board, and then went to Germany to Siemens to mask the chip, and got that done, and then was able to have the chips made by Siemens. And then in Chicago, where I was living and based, we made our own little printed circuit boards. We bought some equipment from a little company at the time called Lam Research, which today is like a huge company. And I've watched them go from a almost bankrupt company at the beginning to a mega producer of equipment that makes printed circuit boards and other kinds of electrical kinds of things. So that all made it possible, and that was kind of the start of that. So I've done lots of things over the years. Very proud to have started this with my wife Donna, and my kids work here, and it's a family business, and all of our employees are part of our family, and we're all about making quality products that are affordable and that people love. And I really enjoy when I read every single review that comes in on every platform, be it on GhostBed.com or Costco or Amazon or wherever it may be, Home Depot. And I love the feedback. I'm very happy when people love it, and if they have some comments, I use that as a mining opportunity to make improvements to our products. So a little bit about Marc. I'm sure I'll talk too much.
Stop it. Oh, you have a wealth of knowledge in the business world. Like, you've been in these different businesses, starting these different businesses. So there's definitely a wealth of knowledge that you have to give us about business.
I have a tremendous amount of knowledge, and on top of that, I've worked about 80 hours a week for the past 45 years. So I've got a couple lifetimes of the work, and I'm very much into kind of researching and studying and research and study. And I feel it's kind of the responsibility of people with those experiences to mentor and kind of pay it forward, to teach the next generation about these different experiences so they can take something from it. Like, I learned so many things from various great people over the years, directly or indirectly. So that's one of the reasons I'm interested in kind of having this podcast, is just to share all these various experiences. And I have I guess, my unique way of discussing it and explaining it, and sometimes verbose, and maybe boring. But most people seem to enjoy it.
I definitely think people will get a lot out of the knowledge that you have to give us. So today we're going to be talking about something I think the people on TikTok will definitely find really interesting, but even beyond. I wanted to get your opinion on kind of this dupe culture that is permeating social media right now. Have you ever heard of the term dupes?
Not really. I think it's so interesting because I'm a baby boomer. And so my generation has certain terms and words we've used throughout the years, and that's kind of how we talk and communicate and understand.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when you're saying dupe, you're kind of meaning what we would call a knockoff. Where someone duplicates something, we would call that kind of a knockoff of another product or thing.
Right.
So I haven't really heard of it per se in that regard, but I have a feeling you're going to ask me a couple good questions.
Well, that's actually pretty much exactly what a dupe is. So dupe is short for duplicate, and it essentially is a knockoff. So it's gone viral on TikTok where a lot of people will have like a product that they're really interested in. Example is these like Bottega earrings that are like $1,200. People are finding knockoffs on Amazon that are like $20, but they look exactly the same. And so one brand that's been getting duped is Lululemon. Are you familiar with that brand?
I am familiar with that brand. My family's a big fan of it, and they spent 3 to 5 years to try to get me to try it out, and I'm kind of set in my ways, so I just always wore jeans to the office in this generation, in the 21st century.
Right.
And my son kept saying how comfortable they are. My other son said they're so comfortable. So I got a pair, and I'm wearing them, and I wear them every single day.
You have on Lululemon right now?
I have them on right now. I love them, and I see a lot more guys in the casual and business world are wearing them, and I even have my Lululemon socks on.
Wow, down to the socks.
Down to the
Lululemon.
socks, yes. So I'm a big fan of Lulu stuff, and so is my wife and kids and all their crew.
Oh wow, that's so crazy. So then I guess this would be the perfect question to ask you, both from your standpoint of being an avid Lulu wearer and also being an expert in the business space. So Lululemon decided to do kind of like an experiment. They did something called the dupe swap, where they basically set up a space in LA, and they said, if you give us your dupes, your $20, $10 dupes, and we will give you our $98 Align leggings, which is the real leggings. They gave out over 1,000 pair of free leggings. The question would be, looking at this from a business perspective, did they just like waste money, or do you think that this was actually like a good business strategy?
I think it's brilliant.
Really?
Absolutely brilliant. Look, these leggings, these pants, they don't cost that much relative to what they sell them for. So they sell the leggings that maybe they're around $100, $90 to $100. They probably cost $8 to $12 to make.
Right.
So if they're exchanging someone's knockoff dupe product from some other merchant for their product, and then they can get that customer, that new customer, trying their stuff, which is, I believe, much better quality, and they are now acquiring a customer for a very inexpensive cost. And once they kind of wear the Lulu stuff, I think they become, it's like having an Apple phone. You're not giving it away. You're not
That's
switching
true.
to something else, so some knockoff Apple phone. You're an Apple customer for life, and
Right.
you're an advocate. You can't pull an Apple phone away. And I don't think with Lulu you're probably going to give up on your Lulu that easily. I know I had heard about the leggings because I saw my wife and daughter wearing them all the time. So someone told me about them on Amazon a number of years ago, and I suggested, why don't you try those? They're really inexpensive, give it a shot.
Right.
They did. They were, let's say, suboptimal. They were pretty inferior. My wife said after a couple of washes, they kind of fell apart. And she immediately went back to the Lulu stuff. And, you know, everything is kind of price and value and stuff like that. So I think that's a really smart move on their part.
Wow, that's interesting. So you have personal experience with the dupes. And, like you said, sometimes it may be a better price, but you're not going to get that same quality experience.
You're not going to get the same quality. I mean, dupes and also knockoffs, and a lot of businesses, a lot of merchants use generics, their house brand, and it's just it's really a price thing. So you go into the supermarket and instead of buying Kellogg's Corn Flakes, you buy the generic version, and it's less cost, and it might be pretty close, might be okay, and you're kind of paying a premium maybe for the Kellogg's name in that situation. A lot of other products are just a lesser quality product, and it's really price. So that customer is a little bit more price driven, and sometimes it makes sense and sometimes it doesn't. I know Costco, who's a customer of ours, they have a house brand, and they do a really good job making tuna fish and peanut butter and various kinds of products throughout their store, just a limited percent of their offering. And it's really, they shoot for kind of higher quality than whatever the alternative is. And that's kind of been their thing, and they price it pretty competitively. So that's kind of an example where the non-brand is actually a pretty good type of a product. Now, in that situation, they have Kirkland branded golf balls. Now, having been a scratch golfer my whole life until my neck surgeries, guys that play golf, people that play golf, that like to play with Titleist, they're not leaving Titleist, even though it's ridiculously expensive. But Costco still sells a golf ball that's probably pretty close or as good as that Titleist golf ball, and they sell them. It wouldn't be in their store if they didn't sell them.
Right.
But there's probably guys that don't want a Costco golf ball, they want a Titleist.
Yeah, they're super loyal.
That, and it's probably a little bit of, on the golf course, a little ego thing too.
I can see that, because my husband is like that with his basketball. Like, I think Spalding is like the brand.
Spalding and maybe Wilson.
Right. So he's super like loyal to that. Like he believes that they play better. Some people are just really loyal to their brand.
Especially if it's a performance type of a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
What are some factors that you think drive consumers to dupes? Do you think it's mainly price?
I think it is price. I think price is a incredible key factor in business. With everything we do, it's behavior is driven often by price, and I see it all the time. There's kind of Mr. Roebuck from Sears and Roebuck invented kind of good, better, best marketing. So you have kind of 3 price points. In any product category, you're going to kind of see that, other than maybe a pharmaceutical where it's a specific drug that you need to take. But in mattresses, pillows, cars, stereos, TVs, whatever it is, it's good, better, best. And those are the different prices. And you just kind of ascribe to the highest price because that has all these great features. That's what I call the halo effect. So you kind of reach for the high one. And in that kind of marketing, good, better, best, the business is trying to kind of push you ultimately to the middle.
Right.
So they don't want you to be at the low one, and they know not that many people can afford the most expensive one, so they try to get you to psychologically rationalize in your head to get to the middle. So price has always been a factor, and I think most dupes, knockoffs, generics, the customer is driven by the price. Today we're in more difficult times because of inflation.
Right.
And even though the inflation is rationalizing a little bit now, here in August of 2023, the cumulative inflation in the last couple of years is 20-25%. So anything you're buying is 25%-ish higher than it was a few years ago. Crazy, right. And punitive on people's pocketbooks. So more people today are moving down in the retail stores they go. If they shopped at a grocery store that was medium price, then maybe they moved to Aldi, or maybe they move more to Walmart where they've got better deals, and then maybe they're moving from the Kellogg's to the generic, just because it's price, and that's what they're working with now. As their incomes improve over the next couple of years and inflation continues to moderate, people that will gravitate back towards those brands that they knew of, or they might be exposed on TikTok, Facebook, Google, TV, whatever, linear TV, to a new brand. Maybe they never heard of like a GhostBed, and now they'll all of a sudden see GhostBed and say, well, we used to get this kind of a mattress, an S brand mattress that I grew up with, but now I'm aware of this GhostBed that has cooling technologies and it's more affordable, so I'm going to try GhostBed.
Right.
And then you kind of switch that person.
That makes a lot of sense. Interesting you brought up the halo effect, because I'm like remembering back in my head, and I'm like, yeah, like even when you go on like websites, for example, usually have like the 3 pricing tiers, and then in the middle sometimes it'll have like a recommended badge.
Yes.
And so it makes sense because, you know, looking at the cheapest one, you automatically think, well, this one probably isn't as good, I'm not going to get the bells and whistles. But then the last tier might be too expensive.
And then you come to the middle, and probably most people don't realize this. I mean, my generation, they do, but Sears Roebuck was kind of the Amazon of my day. You know, they're bankrupt now and out of business.
Right.
But they were around for 100 plus years, and they first started with a little catalog and little storefronts around the country, and you would order from the Sears catalog, and then that gravitated towards retail stores and bigger stores, and they were selling everything. In fact, they had insurance. I think Allstate Insurance was part of Sears, and Discover Card, I think, was part of Sears. I mean, these are all these businesses that were just spun out of it. And they just had so much in the way of retail, and they just owned retail. And today they're out of business. In fact, there were 3 main retailers in the old days. There was Sears, there was Montgomery Ward's, that we would call Monkey Ward's, and there was JCPenney. And those were the 3 main mass market retail merchants around the country.
Wow.
Where are they today? JCPenney virtually went bankrupt in the 08 hard recession, is now owned by, I think, Simon Properties, which is a big mall real estate firm. Montgomery Ward's completely gone. Its headquarters in Chicago, and my family business, Werner Ladders, we sold all those guys. Those were main bread and butter customers. And the building that Montgomery Ward's was in forever in Chicago is where Groupon started their business. And they took over that incredible office complex on the Chicago River in Chicago. So things change over time, and that's just what happens. But Sears Roebuck was a brilliant marketer and just understood good, better, best marketing. And that is really the basis for how people sell products today.
Wow, that's amazing. I did not know that. So why do you think customers pay more for Lululemon, even knowing that there are less expensive alternatives out there?
Brand loyalty, quality. I wouldn't switch. They're comfortable. I like the pockets. I like the way it fits. I like the way it launders. I'm really happy. I wear them every day. You know, so I'm really happy with the product. I wouldn't switch, and I think most people develop an affinity, a loyalty to a product that has the quality that they want. So it's not a product where it's incredibly expensive. So if they're $100, it's not unaffordable for a lot of people. It's affordable. It might be a stretch for some people versus the $20 one, but it's going to last longer. You're going to feel better in it, and people take I think a sense of pride, and they feel good. Yeah. People like to do things that make themselves feel good. If it's having a beer or just watching a game or whatever it is, being with their friend, people do things that make them feel good, and that is probably one of the reasons they drive to certain brands, and it makes them feel good, so they will splurge.
So has GhostBed been duped? Have there been any dupes of GhostBed products?
Well, we have a lot of proprietary patented products, and we have a number of people that have knocked off our products, and we take our proprietary patented technologies and legal rights very seriously. So we pursue anyone that we identify, we find, and then we investigate it, because you're responsible to properly investigate if someone's really copying something that you might have a patent on. And then we pursue some kind of interaction with that company or individual, whoever, to resolve it. But we've definitely been knocked off, and we've always emphasized from day one sleeping cool. And if it's the cool of the touch mattress that we're on right now, this is the GhostBed Luxe. We call it the coolest bed in the world. To pillows, to the sheets, to the mattress protector. It's because one of the reasons is I know over half the country sleeps warm, half the world sleeps warm.
Right.
I sleep warm. So selfishly, I've always wanted to develop products to deal with me sleeping warm. My wife sleeps a little warm, but she's a little thing and she's always cold. So she's wearing a sweatshirt today when it's 92 degrees. Just
sounds like me.
Just some people are always cold and some people are always warm.
Right.
I'm the always warm guy. So I've always developed stuff. So in all of our products, I've put in cooling technologies. And I've spent a tremendous amount of time with our team researching it and coming up with solutions so we can offer those products. And fortunately, I've gotten a number of things patented. And so we've got the protection. So when you patent something, the government acknowledges it's unique, it's novel, and you have 20 odd years to have exclusivity to it. And then after that, the whole world gets it. You know, everyone can use it, and that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way that people invest in R&D to develop new products to improve mankind.
Right.
Pharmaceuticals to mattresses to pillows to whatever it is. Want new products being developed and new technologies, and it's just better. It creates jobs, it creates happier people, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So in that window, you get 20 years of the patent duration. You actually don't get 20 because it takes a number of years to kind of go through the patent office and get it approved and blasted and all that stuff. So you get something less than that of actually selling it in that patent status. But it's a good thing during that time period. But yes, we have been duped and knocked off a number of times by some pretty big companies.
Wow, that's really interesting. So it's interesting to know too that, like you said, like you have patents on the technology behind it, and so that's one of the big differences and like why it's important to get the real thing and not the dupe.
Exactly.
And I would imagine a lot of these dupes as well are infringing, you know, on copyrights and patents and things like that.
I would think they are. I would definitely think they are. And also, the company that's duplicating it, duping it,
Right.
knocking it off, probably doesn't really know the real way to make it in the most high quality way.
Right.
They might be infringing on the patent, but they might not understand all the other things that brings the product together in so many things. I don't know if Lulu has a patent on a design patent on these pants that I'm wearing,
Right.
but I've looked at a couple others and they're, I would say, okay, suboptimal to these.
Right. And like mimic the feel of it, but not really be able to get the intricacies down.
Right.
You heard it here first, guys. You have to get the real thing. You have to experience the real GhostBed to truly get that authentic experience.
Definitely.
Yeah. Often imitated, never duplicated.
Very well said.
So, do you have any last words for us, Mark, before we close?
Well, it's a good topic, especially because I'm not a Lulu person. And I was never a Lulu person before, but I'm a loyalist now, and I'm not trying to be a plug for Lulu. I have no tie to that company at all, other than liking their products.
This is not an ad, guys.
This is not an
not
ad.
Sponsored.
Right, not sponsored, nothing. I just really like the products. I do think it's sometimes a little pricey, but
Right.
it's worth it to me. And it's not crazy pricey. You know, there's all these designer things. That's crazy pricey.
Right.
Okay, and they never seem to be comfortable either.
Yeah, they're definitely form over function.
Yes, very much. So I hope I was helpful in answering those questions, and I look forward to more little sessions on our mattress chit-chatting.
Yeah, definitely. I think the people definitely will get a lot from this conversation. We've learned a lot about marketing, business, and dupes.
And dupes.
So we want to thank you so much for your time, Mark. And
Thank you.
Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you guys on the next episode.